Hey guys, I want to do what I plan on being a real quick video about ASM. I will have more coming out very likely this week. I plan to at least. But I've had a lot of questions from you guys, both on Twitter and here on YouTube, about, in short, what the bleep is going on, right? And the best I can do is give you my thoughts and opinions based on what I know and what I believe, right? So that's what I want to do right now. So we've noticed that a lot of crypto in general has done really well last week, right? We hit an all-new high for Bitcoin, which was awesome because when Bitcoin does well, everything else does. Or at least when we feel that things are going well for Bitcoin, everything else goes well. So it is important for this weekend for Bitcoin to close above 115K. If it does, great news for our altcoins and just really the crypto market in general. Greatly increases the odds of the next couple weeks being good. If we drop down even to like 112 or less, even though it'd be a higher high than the last several months, it's likely going to respond. We'll see a lot of our bags go down a little bit. But the ones that have gone up, I would expect the vast majority of them to still also be at higher highs and higher lows. And I've been getting questions because though there are a lot of utility microcap coins this has happened to, well, the one that we are in, right, like me specifically and a lot of you that are asking, is ASM. Right? I don't know if you guys are in a bunch of other utility microcaps or not, but this is one of my two, and the other one, Alluvium, is acting very freaking similar, which is the normal patterns, right? And I guess a lot of this comes down to expectations, but that still only mitigates frustration so much, and I understand that, right? Like with microcaps, they're going to move less and last to the upside, almost always, unless there's specific news about those coins that the masses hear, because if they don't hear it, it doesn't matter. Right? So with ASM, it moved up some from the last week, but when I say some, last time I looked, I think it went up and held about a 6 or 7% increase. And I understand that a lot of other coins, including pretty much all the other ones I own, have gone up more and held more. Okay. I think the fact that it's a micro cap and that it's on Coinbase and not other large exchanges yet is part of the reason. But that's also what I've invested into. I can accept that. When it comes to a couple of specific questions I've been asked was about someone on Twitter mentioned how, just asking, hey, am I still bullish on it? What do I think? Am I concerned about the Korean delisting a little while back? And just to reiterate, that didn't bother me at all, honestly. It was a small delisting. I mean, the exchange was small, and the volume of ASM on that listing was almost non-existent, which is why they dropped it. No one was making money from that. ASM was not, and neither was the exchange. But a couple of weeks prior, ASM migrated onto Base. And honestly, I saw that as far larger of a positive than the delisting of the Korean exchange was as a negative. But that's me. So I guess that's why I wasn't overly concerned about it. The big thing is people need to hear about and know that the coin exists. And this is why microcap utility coins usually don't come until the end of cycles, because people are going to buy more of what they know and what they can find, right? And the larger caps, or really anything in the top 200, are easier to find. There are more exchanges, and they're big because more people know about them. They've heard about them. And going outside of the top 200 is recommended against many times. I've even said several times about if you want to keep it safer, keep in the top 200 by market cap coins. And I think ASM is usually floating in the later 600s, like 680 or more in terms of ranking of size. And as crypto market goes on, people sell their large caps, and they're like, oh, I just made all this money, let's move it into smaller ones. And that's where the unknown gems and stuff like ASM are typically found and when. And I believe it's going to be the same thing. But that doesn't mean I'm not also slightly annoyed with you guys that it hasn't gone up to at least hold higher highs. Right, like something I would love, because I had someone, and I don't remember which, there's several of you that reach out. I believe this was Cricket. Mentioned about if it's not news that does at least a 10x, not interested. I can understand that. I think that's a little extreme to me, because I'm expecting news coming out soon. I'm going to do a little a speculatory video on this for later this week. But ASM got back to me, said they answered some of my questions. There was nothing significant in those. But they ended the email with, "We are expecting good news from the European market shortly." And I think that was a teaser, right? Like, and I would not get overly excited about it, because I have no idea what that means. And I have seen people get overly excited about news before, and then if it's not great news, maybe it's only good news. Well, if we're expecting great news and we get decent or good news, we interpret it as bad news and people sell. All right, so I'm not going to get overly excited by the fact that they said they're expecting good news from the European market soon. But I'm going to make a little video speculating on what it could be and what stuff would actually get me excited versus stuff that I could see being good news for their business, and as an investor I just don't care too much about. So expect that later this week. So in terms of with anything else with ASM, I'm still holding on to it. And I guess I'll be a little bit, I think I've been direct with my strategy before, but it doesn't mean I haven't said it multiple times or that you guys have heard it. Again, this is me. Is my average now on ASM, to be upfront, is about 2.1 cents. So I am certainly in the red. Initially, I planned on not selling anything until about 11 cents. And I was going to sell a third of what I own. So that way I get all of my initial investment and more back, and just see where it rides from there with certain goals and targets I've ever hit. I am thinking about de-risking slightly, meaning ASM has hit 7 cents several times, and I have no reason to think it's not going to hit 7 cents and 16 cents as the other main one again. But I don't know when, and I don't know how long it will stay there. So I'm toying with the idea that next time it gets to 7 cents, making that my selling a third of my ASM. That way, again, my initial investment is taken, and just seeing how far it goes. And then if it continues going up, awesome. I could have made more money by holding out, but I took profits and I still own some and it goes up. I'm fine with that. Or if it hits 7 cents, I sell a third of it and it goes down. I can always rebuy with the same amount of money and get more coins than I had initially. So I'm very much leaning towards that soon. So that way it takes some of the risk out for me, but still lets me stay in, because I do think that the risk versus reward to me, for me, is still well worth it. But I'm not going to throw shade at anyone if they say they're thinking about selling because it's underperforming based off of what they want, or they'd rather move some stuff into large caps for safer, likely sooner profit. Do what you need to. Do what you think is best for you. I can only tell you guys my thoughts and opinions and what I'm doing, because my situation is different. You probably shouldn't do what I do. We got different stuff going on in the background. But in the short term, meaning next month, what I would like is I would like to see ASM obviously get back to its old threshold of about 2.8 cents. But more so, I'd love to see it get up and hold its threshold closer to 5 cents, just to show that it's got some strength and can maintain that, because I think that would build a lot of confidence in all of us. Yeah, I would rather see it jump to 10 cents, 20 cents, and beyond. But small caps don't usually jump like that for no reason. But I think going up to and holding a 5 cent in the next 2 to 6 weeks is far more likely, and that's what I'm looking for. So expect more details this week, or coming into this week, about my thoughts on the answers and the speculation of what potential good news ASM might have been referring to. They teased me on purpose, but I also kind of asked them to give me something to speculate on. So I've got my thoughts and desires about that. And if there's any other questions, worries, or you guys just want to tell me what you are doing with ASM, feel free to put in the comments down below. I will do my best to always let you know what I think, what I know, and what I am doing. And feel free to share your guys' thoughts on it too. You guys will hear from me again very soon. Peace.